Step out of the bright lights with me for a second, and let's head into the shadows. We are traveling back to the year 2008, to a place where the fog just seems to cling to the streets long after sunrise. This is Black Hollow, a quiet, totally unassuming American town. Today, we're going to unpack the details of a mystery that honestly defies all logic. So settle in and let's dive into this incredibly dark, almost cinematic file in today's explainer. Our focus begins with a young guy named Noah Carter. He was 24 years old. And the thing is, he wasn't doing anything unusual or reckless. Actually, he was doing what millions of us do every single night. He was just driving home after finishing up a long night shift. It was a completely regular drive on a completely regular night. Now, to wrap our heads around this mystery, we've got to look at the exact timeline of his final known movements. First, his shift ends. Then, while he's on the road, we have a documented action at exactly 11:17 p.m. And finally, the morning brings a really grim discovery. But let's zoom in on that second point on our timeline. At 11:17 p.m., Noah shoots one final text message over to his younger sister, Ava. It read simply, "I'm only 10 minutes away." Just think about that. That was the very last time anyone ever heard from him. Just a totally routine message, carrying the promise of a safe arrival that was never going to happen. Let's fast forward to the next morning. And this is where things build into something truly unsettling. Police get dispatched out to a quiet, empty stretch known as Old Crow Road. And sitting right there, through the morning mist, they find Noah's car pulled over along the side of the street. It wasn't crashed, it wasn't hidden in the brush, it was just sitting there, completely abandoned. And the evidence left behind? That's exactly why this scene sent literal chills down the spines of the responding officers. The engine was dead silent. The keys were literally still resting inside the ignition. His cell phone was just sitting right there on the driver's seat. His wallet, totally untouched. Every single valuable item was accounted for. The only thing missing from this entire scene was Noah. The absolutely crucial point here is the stark, impossible contrast. On one side of the coin, you have zero signs of a struggle. No blood found anywhere near the vehicle. There weren't even any footprints leading away from the car into the surrounding woods. And yet, on the other side of the equation, Noah is gone. It was as if this 24-year-old man had just vanished into thin air, leaving his entire life sitting right there on the driver's seat. The town's police chief, Daniel Hart, immediately understood the gravity of what he was looking at. He didn't wait around. He launched a massive, desperate search operation right then and there. The entire town essentially mobilized, hoping against hope to find any trace of this missing young man. And look at the sheer scope of this operation. Officers and civilian volunteers combed through the dense forests. They trekked all across the hills. They even ventured down into old abandoned tunnels and dredged the local lake. But look at the results. Days turned into agonizing weeks, and those weeks bled into months. Despite an overwhelming physical effort, they didn't find a single clue, not a shred of clothing, not one footprint. Most folks in Black Hollow slowly had to accept a really grim reality. Noah Carter was never coming back. But then, everything changed. Shift your focus with me to a late, rainy night at the Black Hollow Police Department, long after the active search had gone cold. Out of absolutely nowhere, this anonymous envelope arrives at the station. No return address, no note explaining where it came from. It just appears. Inside this envelope was a single piece of evidence, an old, worn photograph. It showed 5 people standing together. But when Chief Hart looked closely at the image, his blood just ran cold. One of the figures in that photo, it looked exactly like Noah Carter, the exact same face. But the other 4 people standing beside him, they were completely unfamiliar. Nobody in the entire department recognized a single one of them. So Chief Hart flips the photograph over, and there, scrawled on the back of this aged paper, are just 5 chilling words. He was never alone. Now, the department obviously couldn't rely on just a visual match, right? So Chief Hart immediately sends this photograph over to a forensic imaging expert to verify if it's actually real. When the analysis is finally done, the expert calls the chief in. The expert looks at Chief Hart and delivers a conclusion that makes the entire room fall dead silent. He says, "This photograph is authentic. It was taken more than 25 years ago." Just let that sink in for a second. The photograph wasn't doctored, it wasn't photoshopped, it was a genuine physical artifact from over 2.5 decades prior. Okay, let's look at the hard data here, because these are facts that simply cannot be reconciled. Noah Carter was exactly 24 years old when he drove his car down Old Crow Road in 2008 and disappeared. And yet, the photograph sitting on that forensic expert's desk, the one clearly showing Noah's face staring right back at the camera, was scientifically verified to be more than 25 years old. This right here is the terrifying paradox at the heart of this entire file. It is mathematically, physically impossible. How could a 24-year-old man appear in a photograph that is older than he is? He literally wouldn't have even been born when that camera shutter clicked. Which leaves us staring right into the dark. We have to ask ourselves, despite what the experts say, had someone somehow manipulated this evidence in a way modern forensics just couldn't detect? Or is the foggy town of Black Hollow hiding a secret that completely defies the laws of time itself? And who on earth were those four strangers standing beside him? Hang on to those questions, because the answers to this impossible